Hello again, Arcade1up fans. Brian here with another update on the cosmetic mods and Big Blue control panel from 99 Lives. I just completed it tonight. It's about almost 1 a.m. I just wanted to get this one done, and this just came out wonderful. Completed the whole look. Control panel wise, I still have one more mod I'm going to do to this cabinet, which will be the front coin door panel I want to build for the front here. That's going to be a little more down the road. But this control panel, as I said, is from 99 Lives Arcade. I did ask him to switch up the graphics some. His original design actually had the yellow instruction sticker up here in the corner. As for me, I like making these things as close to arcade accurate as possible. This is about as best as I could get. I had to move the instructions down here. The original one, this graphic is much larger, and it sets in between the controls. So it'd be right here in the center, very large, with the buttons, joysticks on the side. This was the next best thing. He even got the little Capcom logo. I really thought that would be much larger, because his original design it's bigger. But looking at the original, there's actually that much space on each side, so it's pretty accurate. I asked for the black front sticker, and he sent me the blue, and also the original graphic that he designed also had some blemishes, and the text on player 2 was all pixelated, and this joystick, all these lettering was all pixelated, and these ones were pixelated. This was perfect, and the player 1 and player 2 text was perfect, and so on. So I told him that. He sent me out a new graphic, which I had to reapply myself, which honestly I was a little annoyed at. I paid $214 for this control panel. I only opted for just the control panel because I was going to just swap the original control joysticks and buttons, and just to save some money, and then spend even more money. And I got a lot of buttons and extra joysticks that I ended up not using. The joysticks you're seeing here are IL joysticks and IL buttons. All of them have been switched out. The story behind the buttons, I went through this was my third set of buttons. As I said originally, I was going to keep stock, save money. I was like, you know what, alright, I'm going to go for it. So at first I bought the American style buttons from DIY Retro Arcade. I've had them before, and I only bought them just for like player 1, player 2 start buttons, nothing major. I know they come with the cheaper micro stretch. This is one of them right here. Very loud. Sounds much louder when it's sitting in a hollow cabinet, and it's just a little harder to push. But one thing I also noticed about them was the color. It's like an off-white, and it kind of looked grungy, to be honest, the white buttons. The blue and red looked alright, but they had like a dull finish. I wasn't that satisfied about them. So then I ended up going to Focus Attack. I found the Suzo hat buttons for $1.95 with cherry switches. Found out that they were going out of stock with those, and they were finishing up what they had left in stock. They had no red ones left over. I had to order a different set from tmoding.com. And when I got those buttons, I wasn't as crazy about them either. This is the Suzo hat button here. But originally though, I did order the player 1, player 2 button, which is IL. And I noticed a difference between that and the Suzo buttons, and I also noticed a difference in color. You may not tell on camera. This Suzo hat button is a step up from the American button in color, versus the American button. The Suzo hat has a more of a gloss to it, but the button is up higher. You can see here it's raised up, where IL and the American ones, it's slightly lower like this. And my player 1 and player 2 buttons were at that height, and I was like, well, this button's now not going to match. Plus it was still an off-white color, slightly better, but it wasn't as pure white as the player 1, player 2 button. So I did more research and realized that IL buttons were the brightest white, and they're also a little bit less shinier than the Suzo Haps, which is really weird. So this is like nice right in the middle. And I believe their blue is slightly darker, very slightly. The red color on the American buttons is much darker than this, and I didn't like that either. So that's another reason why I didn't use the American style buttons. So I bought these third set of buttons, and I ended up getting those buttons for Mortal Kombat 30th anniversary cabinet and my Killer Instinct cabinet, which those will be my next projects, to switch out those buttons. But yeah, very low sell differences. I got very picky, all because this, and I felt like the Suzo Hat button was a little more loose. This was kind of loose in between. The IL is just solid. Has a nice, very quiet cherry switch. The Suzo Hat just seemed a little more spongy, or not spongy, sorry, just looser. I don't know. And the color was off. I didn't like it. So now I have a whole set of Suzo Hat buttons. I don't know what I'm going to do with. I might just put them in the MK cabinet for the hell of it. This one I just wanted everything to be uniform because I had already bought the Player 1, Player 2 buttons. So I wanted all the white color to match. But yeah, this control panel, going back to the graphics. So as I said, I was very annoyed that here I had paid $214 for just the control panel and the graphic design. And I had to go and reapply the new graphics. And the front graphic, because I requested black, he put blue on. So I was almost going to put the entire, cover the whole thing, and I found out that the control, the circle and these didn't line up. It was not in line. It was off a little bit, so it wouldn't even matched up with the holes. So I ran into that issue. But then I got to thinking, I discovered that afterwards because I came up with the idea. I realized when he made his design, this was a whole black box. Like all in here was all black. And the original one has this granite look, the gray and black. So both of these were black. I was like, oh, come on now. And again, there's me. I want arcade accurate. So what I did, instead of replacing the whole graphic, I cut the thing up using an X-Acto knife. I basically cut this hole out. I just used all this extra that I had. There was lots of realty here of the granite, so I just used what I could. I applied it on here. I cut out the circle and reapplied it over this one, matching it up. All the lettering, I just cut a long strip and just laid it out on the top and bottom, so I got rid of the pixelated lettering. And you know, you don't see it, you really can't tell, and you got the plexi over it that he provides, but you can see that line right there. You can tell it's a graphic sitting over the other one. I even went as far as now the Player 1, Player 2 buttons. He had I don't remember. It came on the sides. The black was here and coming out. Oh, that's what it was. It was the Player 1 here with a black ring around it. I cut these out. Technically, these are supposed to be below, but I just didn't like how close it was to here. So the original arcade, the Player 1, Player 2, this design is down here, but I think it works. And I gotta make some sacrifices here to get as close to the arcade as I can. But honestly, it was a fun job. I really enjoyed doing this stuff, and it's taking the time, getting crafty. You can kind of see this right here. I cut this whole square out. This was all in black. All in black. It was like with a ring. So I just mashed it all up, and I was able to apply it on there, cut it exactly how it was. And I got that on both of them. You can see again, that little seam right there. And then I took this and applied it up here. So these are two graphics that I cut from the main graphic. And I still got some extra left over if I want it for something else. Now the IL sticks, you'll notice the dust covers I kept inside. I came up with an idea that almost worked. I found flat washers that were 1/2 inch thick, which I thought would fit the rod here, but it's a little bit larger than 1/2 inch around. It wouldn't fit. My idea was I wanted to get the original dust cover where it's on the inside of the cabinet and it moves in here. It would have worked if I found the right washer. Maybe another one's out there. I didn't bother looking, but it'd be an easy mod to reswitch if I want to swap them out. But I was going to use a Dremel with a circular blade on it and put it in a router position where I can sit on the board. I was going to route out on the inside of the circle, cutting inward around where the washer, I found the side washer I found was perfect for this size circle. It would sit right inside and sit on top of like a stump I would have put. I would have used some foam or something. And basically when you move the joystick, the washer would go into the cuts I made all around, giving that same effect of the inside dust washer. It would have worked. I was really disappointed I couldn't get that to work because of the washer, and I just wanted to get this thing together. So I like that you can see the full star now. And honestly, nothing. The original dust cover is still on there, so nothing's gonna get down there. It's not a big deal. I didn't like how large the dust cover was that came with these IL. It would cover up this whole star plus some of the lettering. So I took those out, and not out. I just kept them inside, sitting on the. I really wish that washer idea worked. But that. Oh, and the other thing I did to make this look arcade accurate is adding the white tape again. I did this to the original control panel on the side, so it looks like the T-molding is coming down and this control panel is sitting in. The side view here, I covered up the original T-molding that was on this control panel with the blue, which matches the side of the cabinet. So I just curved it here, so it gives that look a little bit like it's sitting in. You know, just an illusion. There was a guy, Mark Mania, who made his own panel where he actually did cut off this piece of wood and he set it on the inside, adding new T-molding to it, which I'm kind of interested in doing later on. It'll totally work. You just put two pieces of wood on the inside, like the newer cabinets, where the control panel sits on in between the cabinet. So it can be done. But this is the final product. All concave buttons, IL. Sorry, it's really late. I gotta get some sleep. But I hope this information about the different versions of the buttons helps out. And again, if you're looking to make your Big Blue look arcade cabinet, look up 99 Lives Arcade for this Big Blue control panel. It was $179 just for the panel and graphics. And the buttons, you know, it's your discretion what you want to use. So next time I'll have a video on this will be that front panel design I'm going to work on. And that is it for now. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Please hit that like button. And I really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button if you're a first time viewer here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you another time. Have a good one.